Ever wondered what happened to the party snacks that once ruled social gatherings? Some of these appetizers were absolute favorites, yet they vanished over time. From crispy cheese straws to the ever sophisticated Scotch eggs, let's take a delicious trip down memory lane and explore the forgotten snacks that once stole the show. When we compare today's cuisine with the flavors of the good old days, it's clear that we've lost a sense of culture and tradition that once surrounded our meals. Finger food appetizers played a key role in that era, not just for socializing, but also for sparking anticipation for a delicious feast. If you've ever wondered what classic finger foods were like, join us on a journey through 20 forgotten appetizers that have faded into history. Now, I don't have anything against the classic pigs in a blanket, but once you try this version, there's no turning back. 1. Pigs in blankets. One of the most iconic finger foods of mid 20th century American cuisine, pigs in blankets have roots stretching even further back. This beloved snack, featuring small sausages or hot dogs wrapped in dough, usually crescent rolls or biscuit dough, and baked to golden perfection, first gained popularity in Europe. The earliest recorded mention of pigs in blankets appeared in 1957 in Betty Crocker's Cooking for Kids cookbook. However, similar recipes once thrived in England, where sausages were wrapped in pastry or cabbage and served alongside hearty meals. In the US, the simplicity of the dish and its kid-friendly appeal quickly made it a staple at birthday parties, picnics, and casual gatherings. By the 70s and 80s, pigs in blankets had transformed into a cocktail party essential, often served with mustard or ketchup for dipping. Their savory, buttery flavor and convenient bite-sized form made them the first item to vanish from appetizer trays. Though still present at some gatherings, especially during holidays like Christmas or New Year's Eve, pigs in blankets have become increasingly rare as party menus shift toward more diverse and sophisticated appetizers. Our next dish is a beloved classic, an appetizer that introduced an exotic twist to many American tables, crab rangoon, a famous American Chinese snack. 2. Crab rangoon, a crispy deep-fried appetizer filled with a creamy blend of crab meat and cream cheese, has been a favorite at Chinese American restaurants since the mid 20th century. Surprisingly, its origins are more American than traditionally Chinese. The dish was first popularized by Victor Bergeron, founder of Trader Vic's, a tiki bar chain that emerged in the 1930s. A fusion of Asian-inspired flavors and American ingredients, crab rangoon quickly became a hit at tiki-themed parties and Polynesian-style restaurants. The filling, typically a mix of crab, often imitation, cream cheese, garlic, and green onions, is sealed inside a wonton wrapper and fried to golden perfection. Its crispy exterior contrasts beautifully with the rich, creamy interior, making each bite indulgent. With its sweet savory profile, crab rangoon perfectly suited the mid-century American palate, which was embracing more fried and cheesy foods. While it remains a staple on Chinese American takeout menus, it has faded from cocktail party spreads as modern appetizers lean toward lighter, fresher ingredients. Our next dish was once a party favorite, though its exact origins remain debated. One thing is certain, it delivered warm, comforting flavors to any gathering. Move over, IKEA, homemade Swedish meatballs are here. 3. Swedish meatballs. Swedish meatballs, or köttbullar, have deep roots in Scandinavian cuisine dating back to the early 18th century. However, recent discoveries suggest their origins may be linked to Turkey, brought back by King Charles XII after his stay in the Ottoman Empire. Traditionally, these meatballs are made from a mix of ground beef and pork, combined with breadcrumbs soaked in milk and seasoned with spices like allspice and nutmeg. After being browned in butter, they are typically served with a rich, creamy gravy and lingonberry sauce, creating a savory sweet balance that made them a global favorite. In the US, Swedish meatballs became a hit in the 50s and 60s, frequently appearing at cocktail parties and buffets. Rather than being drenched in gravy, the American version was served on toothpicks for easy snacking. Their rich, tender texture and bite-sized form made them an instant crowd pleaser. Sometimes presented in a warming dish, they added a touch of elegance to social gatherings. Though they remain a comforting staple in Scandinavian homes and can still be found at places like IKEA, Swedish meatballs have largely disappeared from American appetizer tables as party food trends have evolved. Our next item is a versatile appetizer with strong Asian American roots: crispy golden egg rolls. Let's dive in. 4. Egg rolls. A beloved classic in Chinese American cuisine, egg rolls have a fascinating history. Though inspired by traditional Chinese spring rolls, the egg rolls we know today, deep fried with a thick, crispy wrapper, are distinctly American. While their exact origins remain unclear, many credit Henry Lowe, a chef in 1930s New York City, with popularizing the dish. Unlike delicate spring rolls wrapped in thin rice paper, egg rolls are made with a thicker wheat flour wrapper, which turns irresistibly crispy when fried, typically filled with a mix of cabbage, pork, shrimp, and bean sprouts. Egg rolls were crafted to cater to American taste, which favored heartier fried foods. Paired with dipping sauces like soy sauce, duck sauce, or spicy mustard, they quickly became a party staple, especially at Chinese restaurants or takeout feasts. Though egg rolls remain a beloved side dish at Chinese American eateries, they have fallen out of favor as a party appetizer, replaced by lighter, more modern finger foods. Still, their legacy as a crowd-pleasing snack lives on. Next up is a golden, flaky treat that has left a lasting impression on those lucky enough to have tasted it. Say hello to cheese puffs, a melt-in-your-mouth delight. 5. Cheese puffs, also known as gougères in French cuisine, originated in the Burgundy region of France, where they have been a staple for centuries. These airy, savory pastries are made from choux pastry dough blended with grated cheese, traditionally Gruyere or Comté. Served as appetizers or alongside wine, they were a staple in French kitchens. In America, cheese puffs became popular during the 50s and 60s as a refined yet accessible snack. Homemade versions often featured cheddar or other readily available cheeses, making them a favorite at cocktail parties, brunches, and holiday gatherings. Their light texture and bold cheese flavor made them an instant hit, whether baked or fried. Over time, cheese puffs have been overshadowed by more convenient snacks like chips and crackers. The rise of healthier, more varied appetizers also contributed to their decline. However, their perfect balance of crispness and cheesiness ensures they remain a nostalgic favorite for those who once enjoyed them. Our next item is a crisp, refreshing appetizer that evokes simpler times. Let's bring back stuffed celery, a healthy retro snack. 6. Stuffed celery. A staple of mid-century America, stuffed celery was a go-to appetizer at holiday gatherings, dinner parties, and even as an after-school snack. Though celery has been used in cooking for centuries, it wasn't until the early 20th century that it became a vessel for savory fillings. The concept was simple. Crisp celery stalks were cut into bite-sized pieces and filled with creamy mixtures like cream cheese, peanut butter, or pimento cheese spread. The appeal lay in the contrast of textures. The crunchy celery against the smooth, rich filling created a satisfying bite. Other variations included cottage cheese, seasoned cheeses, or pâté, making it a versatile snack suitable for any occasion. However, as culinary tastes evolved and party menus became more complex, stuffed celery gradually faded into obscurity. While still seen at nostalgic retro-themed gatherings, it's no longer a mainstream appetizer. Our next dish is a prime example of how fusion cuisine found its way into mid-century American dining. Travel back to 1975 and discover the uniquely delicious rumaki. 7. Rumaki, a retro favorite of mid-century cocktail parties, rumaki was especially popular at tiki-themed events and Polynesian-inspired gatherings. Though its origins remain uncertain, rumaki is a classic retro appetizer that gained widespread popularity in the mid-20th century, especially at tiki parties and Polynesian-themed gatherings. While its exact origins are unclear, it's widely believed that rumaki was first created at Trader Vic's, the famous tiki bar chain. Much like crab rangoon, this dish combined unique flavors and textures: marinated chicken livers and crunchy water chestnuts wrapped in crispy, smoky bacon. This sweet savory marinade paired perfectly with the tender liver, creating a bold, indulgent bite. Rumaki became a party staple during the 1950s and 60s, thanks to the post-World War II fascination with tropical and exotic cuisine. Its eye-catching presentation, often served on skewers, made it a stylish addition to any cocktail spread. However, as culinary trends shifted toward lighter and simpler appetizers, rumaki gradually faded from the mainstream. Though not as common today, it still holds a nostalgic place for those who remember its flavorful heyday. Next, we have a quirky yet beloved Midwestern classic from the 60s and 70s. A snack that's as simple as it is bold: ham and pickle roll-ups. 8. Pickle wraps. Also known as pickle roll-ups or pickle ham rolls, this Midwestern appetizer delivers a delightful mix of tangy, creamy, and salty flavors. This retro finger food features crisp dill pickles, wrapped in a layer of smooth cream cheese and thinly sliced deli ham or dried beef. While the exact origins of pickle wraps are unclear, they surged in popularity during the 50s and 60s as an easy-to-make party snack. The preparation was effortless. Spread cream cheese over a slice of ham, wrap it around a pickle, chill, and slice into bite-sized rolls. Some variations swapped ham for dried beef, giving it an even more robust, savory punch. Pickle wraps were especially popular in the Midwest, frequently making appearances at family gatherings, potlucks, and sporting events. The combination of the cool, crunchy pickle, rich cream cheese, and salty meat made them a go-to finger food. Though still enjoyed by some, they have largely disappeared from modern party menus as people gravitate toward more sophisticated or health-conscious appetizers. Up next is an appetizer that once added a touch of elegance to cocktail parties. Fresh, crisp, and topped with a rich, indulgent filling: cucumber casino. 9. Cucumber casino. Cucumber casino was a stylish yet often forgotten appetizer that once graced the tables of 1960s cocktail parties. This dish featured crisp cucumber rounds topped with a creamy, flavorful seafood filling, often made with crab or shrimp. The name casino likely refers to its resemblance to bite-sized canapés served at upscale gatherings. The contrast between the refreshing cucumber and the rich, decadent seafood spread made it a favorite for those who wanted something both light and indulgent. Mid-century American cuisine often embraced fresh ingredients paired with creamy, savory toppings, making cucumber casino a natural fit for elegant entertaining. However, as dining preferences evolved toward more global and experimental flavors, this delicate appetizer faded from the spotlight. While no longer a party staple, it remains a nostalgic reminder of the era when cocktail hour was an event in itself, filled with sophisticated, bite-sized delights. The evolution of classic party appetizers. It's widely believed that Romaki was first introduced at Trader Vic's, a renowned tiki bar chain. Much like crab rangoon, this dish features marinated chicken livers and water chestnuts wrapped in bacon and then broiled or baked to crispy perfection. The combination of flavors, savory, slightly sweet marinade, tender liver, crunchy water chestnut, and smoky bacon made Rumake a standout appetizer at cocktail parties in the 1950s and 60s. Its popularity was closely tied to the tiki bar craze that swept across America in the post-World War II era. Exotic, tropical-themed foods became trendy, and Rumaki fit the aesthetic perfectly with its bold, rich flavors. Often served on skewers, this bite-sized treat was easy to enjoy at social gatherings. However, as food trends shifted toward lighter and less labor-intensive appetizers, and the once thriving tiki culture declined, Rumaki gradually faded from the party scene. Still, it remains a nostalgic favorite for those who remember its heyday. Next, we turn to a quirky yet beloved appetizer that took the Midwest by storm in the 1960s and 70s: ham and pickle roll-ups, also known as pickle wraps. The rise of pickle wraps. Pickle wraps, also called pickle roll-ups or pickle ham rolls, became a Midwestern favorite thanks to their simple yet bold flavors. This retro finger food consists of a dill pickle, wrapped in a layer of cream cheese and deli ham or dried beef. While the exact origins are unclear, these wraps gained popularity in the US during the 1950s and 60s as an easy-to-make snack that balanced tangy, salty, and creamy elements. The preparation was straightforward. Dill pickles were spread with cream cheese, then wrapped in thin slices of ham. Some variations used dried beef instead, enhancing the savory depth. Once rolled, the wraps were chilled to firm up before being sliced into bite-sized pieces, making them ideal for parties and picnics. Pickle wraps were especially popular in the Midwest, where they became a staple at family gatherings, potlucks, and sporting events. Their crisp, creamy, and salty combination made them a delightfully addictive snack. However, as party foods evolved toward more sophisticated and health-conscious options, pickle wraps largely disappeared from modern appetizer spreads. Cucumber Casino, a forgotten gem. A dish that once graced 1960s cocktail parties with elegance was Cucumber Casino, a refreshing yet often forgotten appetizer. This dish featured thinly sliced cucumber rounds topped with various savory fillings, typically a seafood-based mixture like crab or shrimp salad. The name casino likely refers to the bite-sized nature of these canapes, reminiscent of other casino-style appetizers. The cool, crisp cucumber provided the perfect contrast to the rich, creamy seafood filling, creating a light yet indulgent bite. Cucumber Casino reflected mid-century America's love for combining fresh ingredients with decadent toppings. The dish's presentation was also key. Cucumber slices were carefully arranged on trays and garnished with fresh dill or parsley, adding a touch of sophistication to any gathering. However, as American palates began embracing bolder, globally influenced flavors, Cucumber Casino was gradually overshadowed by spicier, more complex appetizers. While it may no longer be a party staple, this simple yet refined dish still appeals to those who appreciate classic, elegant fare. Next, we explore a robust appetizer that surged in popularity during America's fascination with international cuisine: stuffed grape leaves, also known as dolmas. Stuffed grape leaves, a Mediterranean classic. Stuffed grape leaves, or dolmas, have been a beloved part of Mediterranean and Middle Eastern cuisine for centuries. These delicate bites consist of tender grape leaves wrapped around a flavorful filling of rice, herbs, and sometimes ground meat, nuts, or dried fruit. Traditionally, they were served as part of maize, small, shareable dishes, enjoyed before a meal or alongside drinks. As Mediterranean flavors gained popularity in the mid 20th century, stuffed grape leaves became a common appetizer at American dinner parties. The fillings varied based on regional and personal preferences, but common seasonings included lemon, mint, dill, and olive oil. Once carefully rolled, the leaves were cooked until tender, resulting in a savory, slightly tangy bite that paired beautifully with yogurt or a squeeze of lemon. Typically served chilled, dolmas made for a refreshing and sophisticated addition to party spreads. While still a cherished dish in Mediterranean and Middle Eastern communities, stuffed grape leaves have become less common at American gathering as modern, fusion-inspired appetizers have taken their place. Now, let's move on to one of the most luxurious appetizers ever served, oysters Rockefeller. Oysters Rockefeller, a symbol of opulence. Oysters Rockefeller is one of the most decadent and iconic appetizers in American culinary history. First created in 1899 at Antoine's restaurant in New Orleans, this dish was named after John D. Rockefeller, the wealthiest man in the US at the time, due to its rich, indulgent ingredients. Traditionally, oysters Rockefeller consists of oysters on the half shell topped with a luxurious mixture of butter, parsley, herbs, and breadcrumbs, then baked until golden and bubbling. The exact original recipe remains a closely guarded secret, though modern versions often include spinach to replicate its signature green hue. During the early to mid 20th century, oysters Rockefeller was a sought-after dish at high-end restaurants and cocktail parties, particularly in the 1940s and 50s. The combination of briny oysters and herbaceous buttery topping made it a show-stopping appetizer. Served on oyster plates or trays of crushed ice, this dish exuded sophistication. However, its labor-intensive preparation and the shift toward lighter appetizers led to its decline in home entertaining. Today, oysters Rockefeller is more commonly found in fine dining establishments than at social gatherings, but its legacy as an indulgent classic remains. A legacy of flavors. From the tropical influence of Romaki to the indulgent elegance of oysters Rockefeller, these once popular appetizers shaped the mid-century American party scene. While many have faded from modern menus, they hold a nostalgic place in culinary history, representing a time when entertaining was all about bold flavors and refined presentation. Whether making a comeback at vintage-inspired gatherings or remaining a treasured memory of past eras, these dishes remind us of the ever-evolving nature of food trends. Golden straws were piped through a star-shaped nozzle, giving them their signature rich texture before being baked to perfection. Cheese straws were especially popular in southern households, becoming a staple at social gatherings. The balance of buttery richness and sharp cheese flavor made them an irresistible snack, often paired with cocktails or wine. However, as artisan crackers and gourmet cheeses became more widely available, these homemade appetizers began to fade in popularity. Many opted for store-bought alternatives or moved toward more sophisticated hors d'oeuvres. Next up is a quintessential finger food that was a guaranteed presence at any mid-20th century gathering. Easy, delicious, and undeniably traditional. Tea sandwiches. Mini sandwiches, often referred to as tea sandwiches or finger sandwiches, have long been associated with elegant gatherings, afternoon teas, and garden parties. Their origins trace back to 19th century Britain, where they were served at formal teas, alongside scones and pastries. By the 20th century, mini sandwiches had become a favorite at American events, from weddings to cocktail parties, offering a perfect balance of sophistication and practicality. These delicate sandwiches were crafted using soft, crustless bread and filled with a variety of simple yet flavorful ingredients. Common fillings included cucumber and cream cheese, egg salad, ham, pimento cheese, or smoked salmon. Their small size made them perfect for snacking without being too filling, while their presentation, often arranged on decorative tiered trays, added to their appeal. Mini sandwiches allowed for creativity in both flavor and appearance, often cut into various shapes for added elegance. Though they still appear at select formal events, they have largely fallen out of favors as the modern appetizers have become more diverse and complex in both taste and presentation. Our next item was the epitome of sophisticated party food and still holds a place in certain circles today: canapes. Canapes represent the height of elegant hors d'oeuvres originating from 18th century French aristocratic dining traditions. The term canapé translates to sofa in French, referring to how the toppings rest atop a small base, typically a piece of bread, cracker, or pastry. By the 20th century, canapés had gained popularity across Europe and the US due to their versatility and ease of preparation. These bite-sized delights could be adorned with an array of gourmet toppings, from caviar and pâté to smoked salmon with cream cheese. The beauty of canapés lay in their endless variety. Bases ranged from toasted bread and puff pastry to delicate crackers, while toppings featured gourmet spreads, olives, or capers. Presentation was key, with canapés often arranged artfully on silver trays, garnished with fresh herbs or edible flowers. However, their labor-intensive preparation, coupled with a shift toward more casual dining, led to their decline. While they remain a symbol of formal entertaining, simpler, modern appetizers have largely taken their place. Hearty, elegant, and once a dinner party favorite, our next appetizer was particularly popular at upscale gatherings: stuffed artichokes. Artichoke hearts, often served as appetizers or incorporated into dips, have long been regarded as a delicacy. Native to the Mediterranean, artichokes were cultivated by the ancient Greeks and Romans before making their way into European and American cuisine by the 19th century. By the mid 20th century, stuffed artichoke hearts had become a fashionable appetizer in the US, especially in refined dining settings. Their subtly nutty flavor paired beautifully with variety of fillings and seasonings. Traditionally, stuffed artichoke hearts were filled with a savory mixture of breadcrumbs, garlic, and cheese, before being baked to a golden finish. Alternatively, marinated artichoke hearts were served cold, dressed in vinaigrette or olive oil. The unique texture of artichoke hearts, tender yet slightly firm, made them an excellent base for rich and flavorful fillings. However, the labor-intensive process of preparing fresh artichokes led to their decline in popularity, with most opting for canned or jarred versions instead. While still found in Mediterranean cuisine and gourmet dishes, stuffed artichoke hearts are no longer a common sight at American gatherings. Finally, our last entry is a protein-packed, hearty appetizer that was once a staple at parties and picnics: Scotch eggs. Scotch eggs are a beloved British appetizer that found their way into American social events by the mid-20th century. Believed to have been invented by the London department store Fortnum and Mason, in the 18th century, Scotch eggs consist of hard-boiled eggs wrapped in seasoned sausage meat, then breaded and either deep-fried or baked to crispy perfection. These savory, protein-rich bites were both satisfying and easy to eat by hand. Traditionally served cold, Scotch eggs were ideal for outdoor gatherings, picnics, or cocktail parties, as they could be prepared in advance and arranged neatly on serving trays. They gained popularity in the US during the 1950s and 1960s, particularly as interest in British cuisine grew following World War II. Their irresistible combination of flavors, the soft, slightly runny egg yolk encased in salty sausage and crispy breadcrumbs, made them a favorite finger food at social events. However, over time, Scotch eggs became less common on American party menus as lighter, health conscious appetizers took center stage. Their rich, hearty nature contributed to their decline, but they remain a nostalgic treat for those who remember their presence at mid 20th century gatherings. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more engagement.